during my studies in forensic psychology, we had to study like high profile cases, serial unalivers, all of that. And out of all those cases that I studied, nobody frightened me more than Ted Bundy. While he is gone to HE double hockey sticks, and I hope, he absolutely frightened me. The more I studied that case and then also watched reactions from the public, it absolutely terrified me. Terrified me. The fact that people like him can still exist to this day. Doesn't mean you should walk around paranoid. No. Do you think in every single person that looks or acts like that? No, we're not doing that. But the public's reaction to him also interested me. And with all this chaos with the Lindsay Clancy trial, it started bringing me down a road of, this sounds so familiar, because I keep seeing it over and over and over and over. The public's reaction to Ted Bundy, on one side, was absolutely valid. Women were dyeing their hair because they started to see a commonality with his victims. Women were afraid to go anywhere by themselves. Women were afraid to sleep by themselves. There was sheer public panic, as there should have been, especially during those times when technology was super slow, communication was really slow, and the violent acts of this crime just were horrendous. And they live rent-free in my brain. That's why I don't look at true crime as entertainment. It is reality. And I feel like a lot of you guys are missing the point on that. We're talking about it like it's a cutesy patootsy little this and that, and we're talking about theories. It's reality. And a lot of times the victims get forgotten in this. And sometimes the victims get blamed. Hear me out. That's where I'm going. Because then you had the other side of the Ted Bundy madness, where women actually flocked to the courtroom, thought he was cute. They said he was good looking and smart. He actually got married. I believe he had a child. The public knew, sat through that trial. They knew what he did. I mean, so it interests me. It makes me curious. I see a lot of people talking about Chris Watts. Let's talk about Chris Watts. But I'm not going to talk about the parts you want me to. I'm going to talk about the public's reaction. Because the amount of people, before they had all the facts, went after Shanann. They did. They called her a narcissist, a bad mom, selfish, horrible wife, without knowing her, without knowing the family, none of it. They're victim blaming. And then when Chris Watts finally came out, the amount of people that are emailing him and messaging him in his jail, gross. Gross! What's in here? What's going on in here? That you think it's cute and appropriate and good for you to marry a guy who completely annihilated his family. Okay. All right, cool. I've also seen it with the Gabby Petito trial. Yep, you guys keep bringing that one up too, on how the public solved it. But I also remember the public going to Brian's house, stalking his parents because they thought they were guilty of something. Don't get me wrong, there's absolutely suspicion there. Does that mean you can go and stalk their home and their work and scream and yell outside? Because what you're not thinking about is the other neighbors that have nothing to do with this, just want to get up every morning and go to work. And you're blocking the road, you're screaming and yelling, you're recording. I mean, it was wild. Absolutely wild. And in the process, Gabby gets forgotten. Because it's all about, you're right, I'm wrong. Right? Again, I feel like we're just attaching too much of ourselves to these. And it's just, it's curious. I'm curious. It makes me curious. Especially the way that the people attack. I mean, with Shanann's family, they were being cyberbullied. They were being cyberbullied. They just lost their daughter and their grandchildren. And you guys chose to cyberbully them. It really makes me curious. Even in the case that I was researching in forensic psychology, I mentioned that there was a retracted statement. There was, because the girl lied. The girl lied to try to give the man who was accused of doing this a solid alibi. It just really makes me curious. It makes me curious. It also makes me curious in my own personal life, but I try not to attach it. Where if you literally witnessed a woman having a child ripped out of her arms and being strangled almost to death, and you're still with that person, you lie for that person, it's very interesting.